Hello, this is Sophia from SlideHub, and I have here an introduction to how our SlideHub service feature works. In this video, we will talk about the types of works we offer, how to provide us with instructions, our working hours, and how to send tasks to us. This file will also be provided to you since we have links to articles and videos to expand on certain areas that you can access later. So please do take some time to have a look through the links to make sure you get a full overview on how SlideHub can help you. SlideHub is very easy to use once you become familiar with the process, and our team makes sure to learn your preferences and guidelines to keep providing you with a consistent and stress-free experience. Here we have the types of work we offer. So brush up, visual enhancement, light brush up, recreation, and non-standard tasks. I will explain each one individually and show you some examples on the next slides. But before we start, please note that we do not edit content or do any sort of calculations. This means that we cannot summarize the content that you have on your slides or reinterpret it to have less text, nor can we work inside Excel and do data formatting for you. Our final deliverable files are always in PowerPoint, but you can submit any format file as an input for us to work on. If you also require a PDF as the final file, we can send that alongside the PowerPoint file as well. Note that the deliverables you get depend on the instructions provided. If you use our language, we will get closer to your needs. So it tremendously helps our clients when they become familiar with the terms we use, like brush up and visual enhancement, and it's much faster to provide instructions to SlideHub this way. You can also find here a link for some videos explaining each of these types of work. So now for brush up. Brush up consists of ensuring alignment, coloring, and consistency across slides while following your company style and guidelines. However, it does not involve any changes of structures or addition of graphical elements like icons or pictures. It simply means that your slides will match your company branding and rules. Here you can find some examples of slides where brush up was applied. You can see the input on the left and the output on the right. You can see that brush up entails fixing the file to the correct template and layouts. You can compare the different templates and examples, making sure all titles, subtitles, footers, trackers, logos, and page numbers are in the correct placement, fitting the content to the slide frame. Every slide has a slide frame that we set up to ensure consistency, fixing the colors to the template's color palette, fixing the font types and font sizes, fixing and keeping animations and transitions, converting graphs to Excel or Microsoft depending on the company rules, keeping consistency and fixing jumpings and alignments from slide to slide when in presentation mode, and making sure the slide design fits within the company style. Brush up can be applied to any type of slide, but taking into consideration that the slides will be very simple. So if you are using a deck for a large audience presentation or a sales pitch, brush up might not be indicated for that. You may instead require visual enhancement since it will make the slides more visually interesting for the audience. Next, we have visual enhancements. Visual enhancements includes everything that brush up includes, with the addition of picture recreations, improvement of the overall structures on the slides, and addition of new graphical elements like icons or pictures. It simply means that your slides will match your company branding and rules, and will also be made to be more visually appealing for the audience. Here we can see some slide examples where visual enhancement was applied. You can see we have changed the structure of the slides considerably, we have added icons and made more interesting shapes to make the message more appealing to the audience. You can also see that additional yellow stickers have been added by the client. You can see some here, to better guide us on the work required. This is not needed unless you feel you would like to provide us with more specific guidance. Consider this input slide. We applied brush up on the left and visual enhancement on the right. Here you can see an abstract comparison between brush up and visual enhancement. On the left, you can see the brushed up slide has simply made sure that the content is all aligned and is matching the branding and guidelines, while the visually enhanced slide on the right has applied the same standards as brush up, but with the extra of improving the overall structure of the slide and adding visual elements like icons. Here we have light brush up. Light brush up involves fitting the content to the slide frame, fixing colors to the client's color palette, putting text inside the template placeholders, and fixing fonts and font sizes. It is a simplified brush up. Note that it differs from brush up since it does not guarantee any sort of consistency between the slides, nor does it change the design that the original input has to match the template style and guidelines. So whatever design the input has, the output will also have it. We will further exemplify. Here we can see some abstract examples of what light brush up looks like. You can see here the input and the output slides. We have two slides that have similar content but are using different design styles. On the output slides, you can see that even though the slides look similar, they are not consistent because we only guaranteed that they were fitting inside the slide frame and that the font type and sizes were correct, but we did not ensure consistency between both slides. And that means that the styles are different and that there will be jumpings from slide to slide in terms of alignments when in presentation mode, as you can see here. You can also find here a link to an article where we further expand on light brush up. Note that light brush up is usually recommended to be used for appending slides, drafts, or any other internal material that does not need to look consistent or fully on company brand, and that may require a faster turnaround since the quality of the work will be simplified. So for example, if you have a presentation for a big audience, we will most likely not recommend for you to select light brush up since you would require to catch the audience attention. Here we can find a comparison of light brush up with other types of work. You can especially see the difference between brush up and light brush up. You can see that light brush up only works on fixing the file to the correct template and layouts, making sure all titles, subtitles, footers, trackers, logos, and page numbers are in the correct placement, fitting the content to the slide frame, fixing the colors to the template's color palette, and fixing the font types and font sizes. However, it does not keep or fix any animations or transitions. They in fact are removed. Graphs stay as per the input, be it ThinkCell or Microsoft Graphs, and may be going against the company standard rules because we will not change them in light brush up. The consistency between slides is not guaranteed, nor are jumpings and alignments fixed, so the slides may not look similar even if the structures are the same. And the slide design stays as per the input, so if the slide design originally does not match the company style, it will stay that way on the output. Here we can find an example of guidelines, and on the next slides, I will show you some quick examples of the differences between brush up and light brush up following these guidelines. You can see the style is pretty clean and uses lines for headings. Here we have an input and output slide where light brush up was applied. You can see that the input is using wrong colors for this template, it has incorrect spacing, shape, and text formatting, and it has animations. On the light brush up output, you can see the animations were removed. We fixed the colors to the correct colors for this template, but we still kept the spacings incorrect. We kept the text center aligned as well, even though that's not the standards for this template. And we kept this quotation box as it was in the input and simply fixed the colors, even though this shape format is not the correct one, plus it's also stretched. Then we have here a comparison of what the same slide brushed up looks like. You can see here we actually fixed the hierarchy of the headings, so we have a line heading and box headings. You can see we kept the animations, we also made the text left aligned, and we fixed the quotation box to be in the correct format. You can now also compare between the two slides and see the differences between brush up and light brush up. And you can clearly tell that even though this slide matches the company colors and it has the correct placement for all the standard placeholders and logos that the template has, it is still not brushed up and looking like a company standards because it is still light brush up and is not fully matching the company style. If light brush up slides sound good to you, then we fully recommend that you use them as needed in your presentations. But if you do need the slide deck to look consistent and put together in the company style, we would recommend then that you use brush up instead. Here at the bottom, you can also find the differences between both slides, and you can see on the left, we applied the same things, but on the right, there are differences between light brush up and brush up. Now, for recreation tasks. As the name implies, recreation tasks consist of recreating any format files. It can be pictures, PDFs, hand-drawn elements, and text. Anything that might require conversion into editable format. Recreation automatically includes brush up, which means we will recreate your content, making sure that it matches your company guidelines and style. But you can also request recreation and visual enhancement if you'd like your recreation to be enhanced when compared with the original input. Otherwise, brush up will be applied and the output will be similar to the original input. Please see the examples here on this slide. You can see we mostly applied brush up to the recreations, with the exceptions of adding some icons and pictures as per the client-specific requests in the yellow stickers. Lastly, now we have not standard tasks. Not standard tasks are tasks that do not fit into our regular scope of tasks like brush up, visual enhancement, and recreation. They can be Excel to PowerPoint work, complex timelines, simple illustrations, and much more. Please find here some not standard task examples. PowerPoint template creation work inside master, so if we have to develop a PowerPoint template from scratch, creating brochures, posters, or any other non-standard formats, all of these tasks are still produced in PowerPoint and require specific instructions and inspiration materials for us to follow. Creating icons, illustrations, or other graphical elements that might require additional softwares other than PowerPoint, such as Photoshop, Illustrator, or similar. Other similar tasks, you are always welcome to contact us and find out if we are able to help you with the specific tasks that you have on your hand. We do not guarantee taking not standard tasks if they do not fit our scope at all. We usually require 48 plus hours of deadline for these kind of tasks, but it really depends on the amount of work required. We can also work in any size of PowerPoint, so even though we are not working in Photoshop or Illustrator directly, we can still create not standard PowerPoint file sizes, as in A1, A2, A3, etc., in any vertical format slides. When you need something other than brush up and visual enhancement, adding additional instructions is the way to go. If you know right off the bat that you will require something more specific than just a standard visual enhancement or brush up, you can make sure to let us know by adding additional instructions on the slides or the task description. If you also know that the task is more complex than normal, please leave room for iteration so that we can better align with your requirement. We are also happy to jump on a call with you if there's a need. Most of our tasks are easily handled via email alone, but in some cases, calls can of course make it easier to explain. We also recommend our clients to add what we call yellow stickers on the slides to further guide us on the work required. Here at the bottom of the slide, you can find two links, one for a file and one for a video, showing you how to provide SlideHub with instructions. Here we have an example file of how you can provide instructions to SlideHub on your slides. Here you can see we added a sticker saying, at SlideHub, please apply visual enhancement and propose two options. So we would like to get two visual enhanced options for this slide. Here we said, at SlideHub, please recreate the picture and brush up the slide. So we would like this picture to be recreated and made editable, plus have brush up applied to the whole slide. Here we said, at SlideHub, please make sure the content fits well on the slide and apply brush up. You can see this slide was most likely already worked on before, and the client simply added more content. So they just want us to make sure that everything fits well inside the slide and side frame. All of these instructions are specific to each slide, but if you do not want to add stickers to every single slide with your instructions, you can just mention, please apply brush up to the whole deck, or please apply visual enhancement to the whole deck, and only if you have specific instructions would you actually add them to the specific slides. You can also add a general message of, please apply visual enhancement to the whole deck and recreate any pictures, or please brush up the whole deck and recreate any pictures, or even please propose two options for slide 2. It can be general or specific depending on your needs on the slides. So, what type of work is the most suited for your slides? You have to take into consideration the type of audience you are presenting your slides to. If you are having an internal meeting, most likely brush up or light brush up would be enough for your slides, but if you are presenting for a big audience, you most likely will require visual enhancement to make sure that the slides look interesting enough and that it catches the audience's attention. What kind of content do your slides have? Are they content-heavy slides or are they simple bullet point slides? So you have also to consider if your slides are content heavy, for example, like a report slide with a lot of text and a lot of graphs, we most likely can only apply brush up to those slides because they are already content heavy and we do not have enough space to make more interesting structures or add a lot of icons. But if you would like us to make those slides visually appealing, we would likely require to split that content into multiple slides, which we can also do, but you would have to let us know in advance or we will offer you to you as well if you request visual enhancement. But please take into consideration that some slides are too content heavy to be able to make visual improvements on without dividing the content. So in some cases, if your slides are content heavy and you would like to keep it all on the same slide, we will only apply brush up. But if your slides have less content with simple bullet points, we can easily apply visual enhancement to them without any problem. What kind of deadlines do you have? Do you have urgency in getting back to deck, or do you not have a time constraint? This also impacts the type of work that we can apply on your slides. If you have a very urgent deadline, we most likely cannot apply visual enhancement and will only do brush up or light brush up if needed, but we also have to take into consideration your needs on the slides. So we may apply visual enhancement to some slides and brush up to others so that you can get the best possible slides within the time frame you have. But it's also important that you consider if you have an urgent deadline, for example, within 3 or 6 hours, we may only be able to do X amount of work on the slides so that you can get it on time frame that you require it. But if you have a long deadline, we can do all types of work without any problem. Are your instructions on the slides very complex and time-consuming to implement? This also relates to the considerations of the deadlines. So if the slides are very complex to do, for example, a brochure or an illustration creation, we may require a longer deadline to be able to complete the work. And a task might be considered not standard, or it can even be visual enhancement depending on how complex and how specific it is. We can also guide you on the type of work most suited to your needs on the slides. We just require you to provide us with a specific task description or have a call with us to explain your needs. And we will be able to tell you which type of work is the most suited for your requirements. Here we have the average scope for each type of work we offer. For Brushup, we usually do 3 to 5 slides per 1 hour, depending on the complexity of the slides. Visual Enhancement, we do 1 to 2 slides per hour. Light Brushup, 7 to 10 slides per hour. Recreation, 1 to 2 slides per hour. And Not Standard depends on the complexity of the work required. Please note that all tasks have a minimum charge of 1.4 credits. The reason why that is that when using our service, each task is executed with 2 layers of quality control. First, a designer, and before returning the deliverable, a project manager. The 2 layers give you a consistent experience and quality every time you use SlideHub. Furthermore, there is a fixed amount of time spent on client communication and posting of the project. So, we suggest sending tasks in bulk as much as you can to make the best use of the minimum 1.4 hours. We are open 24 hours a day, including holidays, and only take a break the night before Sunday, so between midnight to 8 a.m. CET on Sundays is when we are closed. Here are some examples of our turnarounds. So, if we have small projects under 10 slides, if they are handed in at 10 a.m. CET, they usually are returned back the same day. For medium projects between 10 and 30 slides of Brushup, if they are handed in at 6 p.m., they will be returned the next day at 9 a.m. For larger projects around 100 slides of Brushup, they are usually returned within 2 days. Please note that our standard deadlines are usually between 6 to 12 hours, and our minimum turnarounds are between 3 and 6 hours depending on the amount of work required and our current capacity levels. I will expand a bit more into the capacity levels later on. You can send your slides to us via email, add-in, or by uploading them on our platform. These two are the ones we recommend to use as standard. And here you can also find a link for a video on how you can join your organization and send a project to us. If it's your first time using the service, but your company has already been fully onboarded, try and send a small task with no time pressure with a longer comfortable deadline to get a feel of what SlideHub can do for you and how we can help you when you have a time-sensitive project where you require our assistance. After sending a task to SlideHub, you will receive an automated email stating we have gotten your request and we'll get back to you in a few minutes, as long as your company does not have the automated emails turned off. We usually only take 15 to 20 minutes to get back to you. In this time, the project managers will review your request and come back to you with any questions they may have or with the scope and deadline for the task. So please make sure to keep yourself available for at least 20 minutes to answer any questions you might have after sending a task. The types of questions we might ask related to the project vary, but here are some examples. Confirmation of what slides to work on, confirmation or clarification of instructions, what kind of deadline or type of work is required, what template we should work on, if we should recreate any pictures, and etc. We recommend our clients to add their phone numbers and time zones on their SlideHub profile settings so that we may give you a call to better align on projects if needed, and also ensure your request deadlines work within your business hours. You can see here where you can make the setup. So you just go into your profile settings, and then you can add your time zone and your phone number. Here is a quick example of a task sent via email. You can do so if you would not like to use the add-in or our website. You can see it's a very simple email where we just tell the team what we would like on the slides, the deadline that we would require, and we just sent over the file as a normal attachment. We will of course get back to you as we do on other tasks, and it will be a normal task as any other sent via the other platforms. Just note that the files sent via email do have a size limit of 25 megabytes. I will now quickly show you our add-in and then our SlideHub platform. To access the add-in, you can just simply click on our SlideHub logo after you have installed the add-in on your PowerPoint. Then to send a task, you just click on Send a Task. Then you can see you have to fill out all of these fields, and then you can just click Send a Task to be able to send a task to our SlideHub team. I will further expand on all of these fields on the website platform. Here we can find our SlideHub platform. To log in, you simply click on the login button, and then you select if you want to log in with password or with email. If you do not remember your password, you can just select the option with the email. Once you log in, you'll get automatically directed to the Send a Task view, and this is how you can send a task to SlideHub. You can see here on the right side that we currently have good service capacity level. This can have 3 different levels. It can be green, yellow, or red. Green is when we have good capacity, yellow is when we have medium, and red is when we have reduced service capacity. This serves to show you our current capacity level so that you can manage your expectations in terms of the deadlines that we can actually deliver. So now to send a task, I will first click here to select my file. This is the file we were currently looking at before with the yellow stickers. I'll just select that one. You can also drag and drop your files here. It works the same way. Then I have to select what kind of template I would like the SlideHub team to use. So if I untoggle this one, I can select any other file that I might have on the company files. But at the moment, I would like to keep the existing template so the team will know to just keep whatever template this file has. I can also add multiple files here if there's a need. Then I can select if I want to add a reference file. So right now it automatically selected this style because it is the file that I have on my company files. And I can either untoggle this one or just keep this as is so that the team knows they should follow this style. If I want to add another file here, I can do so and mention to the team to use that as inspiration, or I can just select this one or say to please follow the style that the file currently has. Then I scroll down. I already wrote this message here, so we know I already have yellow stickers on that file, so I just want the team to follow those instructions, but I do know I requested brush up, visual, and recreation, so I just make sure to select those here as well. Then if I scroll down, I can select my deadline. You can see there are two options here. So we have the option for the relative deadline. Relative deadlines have some pre-made suggested deadlines that we can choose from, or we can also choose specific date and time. With specific date and time, I can select my time zone and I can select the exact time that I would like my file to return by. So if I would like this returned by tomorrow, I can just select the day and the time, and it will be in CET, which is my current time zone. But you can also just select whatever time zone it fits you best. Then here at the bottom, I can select if I would like to add any of my colleagues in CC, if I would like to specify a specific budget, so I can select one of these options, and if I would like to add any project ID codes. So I can just change this one to be whatever I would require. Project IDs will enable you to identify this project later on once you look at your invoices. Then you can see here at the bottom, I have the option to select this project to be a quick quality assurance task. And this means that this task will prioritize the deadline and not the quality, which means that I will get it back as fast as possible, but it will of course decrease the amount of quality that SlideHub would be able to provide to it in case it was a normal task. Then I can just click Send a Task. And I can again decide if I want to prioritize the quality or prioritize meeting a deadline. This will not convert the task to be a quick quality assurance, but it will let the project managers know what to prioritize in case the capacity is limited. Then I can also change my file name in case I would like to have a different name on the final deliverable file. I can also untoggle or toggle this check mark to make sure to limit the emails that I receive or to enable that I will get automated confirmations. Then I can just click confirm and my task is sent and initiated by the delivery team, and they'll get back to me with any questions they may have or with the confirmation email on the deadline and what they will do on the slides. We highly recommend you to take some time to explore all of these tabs on your own and let us know if you encounter any questions. If you would require further explanation on how to use our platform, we can also book a meeting with you to further expand on this, so please feel free to click on all of these tabs and explore on your own how you can best use our platform. Thank you for watching this introduction video. Here you can find our email for our customer success team. They will help you with any questions you might have about the service and are also happy to have calls with you and your team to further explain how our service works. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us, and looking forward to seeing you on our platform.